Welcome, welcome to the C-Suite Leadership Journey. And I'm so excited to be here because this is one of my favorite moments. I'm not saying that it's not good about my job, training, coaching, and doing all the traveling that I do, but I love speaking with like-minded and open-minded CEOs and leaders that actually break or disrupt what it actually is, the leadership, and continue doing an amazing and incredible job. So what I do is I help business leaders improve team performance. How do I do it? By equipping leaders and also to provide this service and the information that I have right now. So right now, I just want to say that I have an incredible guest, and you're probably going to feel like, oh my God. And this actually, we have 3 questions for him. That was the first time I have 3 questions for a guest speaker in the group. And for those who are watching us in LinkedIn and in YouTube, just remember, if you like this live and you like the information that we're sharing, please like, comment below, and also subscribe, because every time that we do something and every week we actually download this information for you to be even a better leader, to maximize your influence. So right now, let's go to the point, because I have this incredible CEO, president of an incredible organization. So Bryon Holz, actually, he's the president of Bryon Holz of Association in Brandon, Florida, a firm founded in 1983. Can you believe this? He has been providing investments and insurance to successful individuals and business owners through the Southeast. So right now, I just want to tell you that this incredible, amazing friend that I have in the back of the room waiting for you to talk. Basically, he is a man with serving heart for making the world a better place. He's leading from the heart. Please join me to welcome our guest today from Tampa Bay, Florida, Bryon Holz.
Tampa Bay, come on. Hi, Candy. It's so great to be with you today. Thanks for having me on. It's a real blessing and what an honor to be here with all your friends on the internet and around the world. So thank you for having me.
Everyone has to dance every time they jump. So look at you, you're getting in the mood and everything.
Oh, you bet, you bet. Move me, you move me. This excitement, the electricity just moves me. The music you have, that's awesome. Thank you for that.
That's excellent. So Bryon, tell us more about yourself. I know that you've been a leader of this incredible organization that you founded in 1983, right? So
yes.
Tell us a little bit more about how everything started. What was the moment that you actually feel like, this is something that I want to do for a living?
Well, Candy, it's interesting because I think I've always been a little bit of a leadership junkie to some extent. When I was younger, I always liked kind of being a part of what was going on and kind of helping what was going on and kind of direct what was going on. And then when I was in my early teens, we moved down from Chicagoland to rural Florida during a big boom, a big housing construction boom, and the population was really growing back then, and it hasn't stopped. But my father was a contractor, so he was always in control and in charge of his men and his teams. And so I kind of think I witnessed that. But down here, I always liked being a part of things. In fact, in high school, this is an interesting story, not to focus on myself, but to share some of my background about my drive towards leadership. I ran for the school student government president as a freshman. And of course I didn't make it. Then I ran again as a sophomore, and of course I didn't win that time either. But I ran as a junior again, and I was elected by my fellow students, and again as a senior. And I think I'm the only one who was the president 2 years in a row. But the significance of that isn't just that I had the perseverance and the attraction to want to lead and be a part of something and contribute. But back at that time, our school, the high school, was really the center of the community. It was before there were VCRs or cable TV, or certainly before streaming. Yeah, I know, this is like in the 1400s. So we would screen movies in the high school. And who did that? Of course, the student government, right? Their dances were big. It was the age of discotheques and things. So we had student dances and lots of other things. So it was really an important part of community, and I enjoyed that. And it was really fun to do that. And after that, of course, in college, I was always directed, always attracted to being in leadership. And so when I was in college, at first I thought I'd want to be an attorney because I liked dressing up and being formal. And I thought making a lot of money and having an impressive title. But I soon realized that there was a lot more value in working with people and working with a team and helping them in my profession. So right out of school, I started right away in the financial services, financial planning and investment services business. And ever since then, I've never looked back. I was very fortunate to be in a system where I could lead, I could grow my own practice, build my own business, and really decide how I wanted to do it. So I'm very fortunate through some circumstance to be able to do that. But I love what I do. I love helping people. I've assembled a great team of people and directed them. Leadership is a lot more than just working in your business, though. Candy, you are a leadership junkie. You are just, you rock so hard and so much. I've learned a lot from you just in the short time we've known each other, what, a year or so. Some of the lessons that I've learned from you, and also throughout the years, is the importance of having such a good team. When I started out early in the business, I knew that if I didn't have good staff, if I didn't have good team members, that I would fail. I asked my son earlier at dinner tonight, I asked him, what makes a good leader, right? I was planning for this opportunity. And he said, well, Dad, first you have to be confident. And I thought that was significant. But he said, also, you have to learn how to delegate, right? So many leaders want to hold on to everything, but Candy, you do that so well. You've built a great team. You delegate, and you've learned to do that. It's difficult for me. I have to tell you, I've been described as a control freak in some ways. So that was one of the strongest things I had to overcome early on in my career. And I'm still overcoming it every day. But being able to delegate, being able to recognize and to train and attract good leaders for your team, and being able to pass that on. So those are just some of the lessons I've learned throughout the years.
Oh, wow. That is incredible. Yeah, one of the things that's so super important for a leader is to have a great team, because you cannot do everything. That's why it comes mental health, burnout. You won't be able to do anything. I have a question from one of the members of the group here of the high performance leaders. They actually said, how do you relax? So that when I received that question, I feel like, man, that's a really good question, because I normally start my day at 6 a.m. and sometimes I go to bed at 2 a.m. and it's only 4 hours to sleep. So how do I relax? How do you relax, Bryon?
Well, I work hard and I play harder. That's for sure. So when you say relax, I think there's two parts of that. There's the part where you decide you're not going to work, right? Where you're not going to do whatever it is that you do as a professional. So I love to rock. I go to a lot of concerts, live music. I enjoy good dining. I travel a lot for my business. Of course, I speak a lot throughout the country, throughout the world. So that's an important part of my practice. In what I do. So whenever I travel, I always make sure that I take time off on that visit. I add an extra day or 2 or 3 even, depending upon how far it is, to enjoy it, to do things like I do walking food tours. I enjoy that. I love it. Wherever I go, I try and do that. I try and always get the local roasted coffee to take home for my team to enjoy, either in the office or at home with my son or just by myself. Travel is a great way, music's a great way, but I also get hooked on to some things on TV as well. I can be a couch potato as good as the next one, but not for too long. So it's not as important what I do, but that I do it, right? That not what we do to relax, but that we separate ourselves from in leadership. That can be 24/7. There's really not a switch that says I'm not a leader for the next 45 minutes. So that's the challenge, right? Isn't it? On Sunday mornings, for example, my faith is very important. My faith allows me to go either on a Saturday or Sunday. So I worship on Saturdays in the evening, but Sunday mornings, I turn on classical music. I find peace. I just get at peace with myself and turn things off, put the phone away, have some coffee, and just enjoy life in the moment, whether it's the Sunday paper or maybe a little TV. I try to avoid that on Sunday mornings as well. So I relax very little, but I separate from leadership. I separate from the job, right? Our careers regularly, and what's the word? Specifically. I'm very specific when I do it, right? I'm very conscious when I do that. Very deliberate. That's the word I'm looking for when I say I'm not going to work. One thing I've learned as a professional in my practice, and I learned this a little bit like from music as well. I'm a musician, right? I play a lot, I sing, and I listen and attend a lot of music concerts and performances. Any good musician, especially drummers or jazz, but anyone will know it's not just the notes that you play, but it's the notes you don't play. It's the spaces, right? It's the times you're not play. It's the silences. And it's the same way in life, right? You can't work 24/7. Can't all be music. You have to take that time to separate yourself from that.
That's true. So this is my question for you, Bryon. So do you have somebody who is just like you that you can just step out for 1 week, at least 1 month, and everything is going to be okay? Do you have any like that? Like because leadership, we get into I would say the written that we need to control every little piece, so make sure that everything flows. So do you step out to like a week or two to be, and or somebody else to handle everything or not?
That's a great question. And, one of the questions, I'm used to being interviewed a lot. One of the questions I usually get is, what is one of your greatest challenges? And this really dovetails into that. Succession planning, right? Having someone who can replace you. I don't call them a mini me because I want them to be bigger and better than me. But I'm very grateful and very fortunate to have a good team where I can step away for a few days or a week or even 2 weeks, 10 days, and let them carry it on. But long-term succession planning, finding that next generation of leaders, not just for my firm, but really in society, right? In our whatever profession we're in, that's so important. And so I believe it's so important to give back and pay it forward for our next generation of leaders.
That's really important. Oh my God. I feel like this is exactly where I'm going for, because I've been a leader for this organization for 5 years. And right now it's like, I need somebody who's like me, even more, even better, so I can just enjoy my time off. So I'm working on it, and it is hard. It's a challenge, like you said. It's a big challenge. But I just want to say congratulations on being nominated for the president for this is the National Association of Insurance and Financial Advisors, right? So I just want to congratulate you. I know that you were over there to take care the role right now, and now you have a new team. So basically you have 2 teams. So how do you handle that?
That's a great question, Candy. And being the leadership junkies that we are, right? We're always looking for ways to strengthen our skills as a leader. And part of this, and I'm going somewhere with it to your question, but early on in my practice, I went to my firm's leadership training, and that was an important way to incubate my leadership as a professional. And then later on, I did leadership training through our local Chamber of Commerce. And I'm not sure if where your listeners are, whether they have those, but we have Leadership Tampa Bay, there's Leadership Central Florida, they're typically through the Chambers of Commerce. And it's a really wonderful opportunity to learn your community and to learn leadership skills and get involved. But a third leadership track that I've followed and really focused on to be a better leader is through my professional association. And that's what you were referring to, the National Association of Insurance and Financial Advisors, or NAFA. They've been around since 1890. That's a long time, even longer than I've been around. And they have this incredible leadership course called Leadership in Life Institute, or Lilly. And they do a lot of Covey books, just a lot of great reading. They take a movie each month and they watch it as a class and then discuss it and take it apart. It's 6 months long, a full day each month for 6 months. And so I took that and I participated in it. But you know what the old adage is, if you want to learn something, teach it, right? Or moderate it. So I moderated it twice on, and I tell you what, every time it was like more and more and more. So it was really something. Being a leader in my professional association or any organization that I'm in, and I'm not always attracted to be a leader. For example, a men's group in my faith community. I have been, but sometimes it's better not to be, right? To be a participant and not necessarily be driving the bus. But in my professional association, I found I had such a passion for it that I really was drawn to it and had no choice other than to participate and contribute to it. So right now, as president of the National Association, it means a lot of travel, it means a lot of time on the phone and in emails. And you know, the old adage, everyone on this listening to this knows this, but it's like they say, the choir needs to hear the sermon too, right? If you want something done, ask someone who's busy, because those who are busy and achieve at a high level tend to be able to get things done. So in the last few years, as I've risen in leadership on the local level, on the state level, and now on the national level, the curious thing is our team, my practice has done better every year. In other words, there's a correlation and they both do well. How do I do it? I'd like to say it's magic and I'm just a special guy and a special leader. But again, it's the same things we talked about, having a strong team, having the right people on the right seats on the bus, as we say, and working with great leaders on both sides. In my professional association, I had a part in assembling the team and, more importantly, building the team between us, making sure we have a good working relationship. You know, there are different types of leadership, and anyone who's on here should, realize that. The old adage is that there's leadership by position, right? I'm the boss, I'm the president, I'm the head, and that makes me the leader. Well, but we all know that's not true. If it were, right, no presidents would ever. Well, we won't get into politics, but leadership is not by position. It's by what you do and how you treat people and how you work with your team. So everyone knows that in our association, and we just value the opportunity to serve together and share those goals and those visions and those values. Thankfully, it's been a win-win-win. And another, it's funny, another myth, particularly in business, right? Many of the leaders on, listening to this, watching this, are associated with profit ventures, right? Not the whole world isn't nonprofit. In a capitalist or socialist versus socialist economy. In capitalism, entrepreneurs, you have to make money, right? You have to have an engine that brings in income.
Mm-hmm.
The old adage is that we work for the shareholders, right? We only work for the bottom line and profit. I reject that. And I think that anyone who thinks about it really would reject it as well, right? Early on in my profession, I realized my mentor told me, for any business deal to do well, all the parties have to benefit from it. The provider, the manufacturer, whoever you want to call that, the company, right? And the salesperson or the individual bringing those goods and services to the public. And then the public has to benefit. And if all the three parties or all the parties involved don't benefit, it's not going to work in the long term. Sure, in the short term, there could be, a supply and demand thing, but in the long term, and I'm so glad that the pandemic, one of the few good things about it, of course, is we all learned to stretch and grow and change and do things differently and serve each other in ways we hadn't imagined before. So I'm really an optimist when it comes to that. And I know that if I'm working hard and I'm doing the right thing, that others are going to benefit no matter what leadership position that's in. Work smart and work hard and make sure that everyone's being taken care of.
Yes, absolutely. That is super critical. And one word that I to summarize everything that you just said is caring. That's it.
Absolutely.
How much they don't know how strategic you are. They want to know how much do you care about.
Yes. Absolutely. There's servant leadership, right? Service to others, servant leadership. I'm a strong believer in that. Yet, I work with money. That's my currency, quote unquote. What I do is I offer services to help people protect what's most important to them, their income and their money and their families. So it's true. They care how much but we're working with what matters most to them, which is the people that they love and being able to be around a long time to love and enjoy them. So
yeah, that's really important. So I always came to, when I have this, I have this leadership training every month, And there are some people that are asking me, well, I think this is enough for me. So I feel like to be able to master, you have to continue. It's like going to the gym for only
Yes,
5 days. You're not going to get the master of leadership, right? Or the influence.
right. I
So
have to
what do
go to the gym. I'm listening.
so why do you think it's important for leaders to continue growing in the leadership, even though they are not leading a team, they are not into a leadership position? Why do you think
Right.
it's important for them to continue growing?
Well, there's the old adage, you got to sharpen the saw, right? Yeah, if you don't sharpen the saw, you're not going to be able to cut the wood. A dear friend of mine who we lost in the last couple of years, just before COVID, was an emergency room pediatric doctor. So he worked only with children in the emergency room. He was a compassionate, intelligent, warm, loving, caring individual, professional doctor, but he was also a leader, and he recognized some very important things about life as well as leadership. And every day when he went to work in the ER, in the pediatric ER, he would always wear a tie. He had different ties, quite a collection of ties, but they all had dinosaurs on them. And I asked him one time, I said, why do you wear ties with dinosaurs? And I figured it's probably because, it distracts the children, right? Because they're in there and they're scared, they're hurting. It brings a little comfort to them, something to distract them. And it's a little fun, right? And he goes, people think that all the time. And he was very wise. He said, but the real reason I do that is for myself. He said, Bryon, I wear these dinosaur ties to remind myself that if we don't grow, if we're not growing, if we're not adapting, if we're not evolving, that we're going to end up like the dinosaurs, dead and extinct. And isn't that something? So we always have to grow. We always have to change and adapt and evolve. And in fact, I realized this earlier today. I'm wearing these dinosaur, if you can see them, cufflinks that remind me of that as well. If I don't change, if I don't evolve, I'll die. Isn't that true? So no matter what you're doing, you got to always sharpen. And as leaders in any position, right? They say there's the adage, everyone's a teacher. Some get paid and some, have the title, and some teach by example what to do. Some teach by example what not to do. We're all leaders. We all lead in our own way or have the opportunity to lead, right? It doesn't matter if you have the title. And that's one of the things we, in fact, learn in this Leadership and Life Institute, that you may be the president or the chairman or in a position of leadership, but oftentimes there will be a leader in the group that has the leadership just by the way they act and by their position and the way they help others, the way people look to them. So if I have someone in my team who may not even be a manager, but has a way with people, has a way of really relating well to others, like you were sharing before, right, Candy? They're a leader, and I need to recognize that. I need to show value to that, support that, and make sure that we're all on the same team, because that's really the best way to work with any group of people, is to have everyone feel empowered to be a positive, to exhibit positive leadership whenever you're together.
Oh, wow. That's very awesome. I love your passion. Honestly, I can't say anything else. I cannot add anything. It's so perfect. And yes, so people who going through my programs normally, they learn how to become a leader, how to maximize the influence to actually become even a better leader, because we have to. It's like when I went to John Maxwell last year for his INC. Honestly, he is one of the most incredible human beings. And I love him to that. And he even still on a stage, he said, I still growing, I still learning, I still asking my team for help. So even though that has multiple books, so it's always an opportunity to grow and to be better. We are not, if we don't grow, we die. It's like we don't put a water in a plant, we're gonna die.
You're gonna die, exactly. By the way, I failed to mention, Maxwell is a big part of my leadership journey. I've had the chance to hear him live, meet him live. His books are part of my professional training, and just what a great treasure. And the interesting thing is, and don't hate me for this, because I think he would tell us all himself, nothing he shares is that new, but he puts it all together, and it's so strikingly important in scriptures. And I'm not going to preach, but there's some scriptures where they said, well, Moses wrote all this. I think he just collected it all and had the wisdom to put it together. Same thing with Ben Franklin. I'm a huge Ben Franklin fan, and he put out this book, Poor Richard's Almanac, right? And they attribute and ascribe every quote in there to him, but he just collected it. But you know what? He gets the credit, and I'll give him all the credit. He collects some very important wisdom, and his books are so wonderful resources. I love them. So it's wonderful that you're following and learning him as well from him.
Yeah, absolutely. I am executive director for his team. And one of the things that I learned when I started my coaching, my coaching journey is that, okay, who do I need to learn the best? And I found him because we were aligned with the values, the core values, and everything he believed, I believe, and even have like 3 Bibles of leadership. So it's like that's the Bible that I read every day.
Oh, wow.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's like how to lead like Jesus. We don't want to get into religion, but
Right.
honestly, you have to model somebody. And that's
Sure.
it's good and empowering.
And what he's done and what good leaders do is kind of like what we had in school. They call them crib notes, or they put all the good stuff together. There's no filler. It's all meat. And that helps us, because leaders, as we talked about, our time is valuable. And so it's great to have such authors like that and leaders like that to put it together for us succinctly and clearly. That's why it's important to have a good coach. I've been involved with coaching programs for years, and to be, as a leader, we must mentor others, right? We must help that next generation. I've mentored individuals for years, but as importantly, I've sought out mentors for myself. And it's been an important part of my continuous growth as a leader and as a servant. And so find yourself a mentor, be a mentor. There's no point in my life where I'm going to know everything, thankfully. So I always try and find those around me who know what I don't know or can support me in those areas.
You know how I started mentoring? I remember that I was living in California, and they have a continuing education program where they were helping people with difficulties in reading and writing. My English was not even 50% well. I even volunteered to help somebody read and write. And I learned so much from that. It just just the mentoring and helping somebody, it's just phenomenal. It's the best way to be
right.
Yeah.
To teach someone, you had to learn it yourself. You had to be on your game. So you were both learning. Isn't that awesome? As long as you're one chapter ahead, right? You're good. That's fantastic.
Phenomenal. That was phenomenal. So my last question for you, Bryon, is if you had to write a book, what will be the title and the summary of that book?
It would certainly be Bryon Rocks. And on the back, because that's pretty much that's where I am. I'm the guy that rocks. That's my thing. But on the back, it would talk about all the first times, and it would take me back to all those pivotal points in my life. The first time I was in leadership, the first time I experienced hiring someone, for example, the first time I had to fire someone, and really going back to all the first times in my life. And the reason I think that's important is because I learned something in all these first times. And yes, it's a cool song by Foreigner, right? Feels like the first time. But I think it's invaluable as a leader, as a mentor, and as an author of this book, right? My autobiography, that others may learn from my own first times so they can apply them to their own in the future. So that's one of the best things I like to do is imagine individuals, my friends, family, colleagues, having that first time in some of those instances. And then just going back in time and enjoying that and empathy, having empathy for them and support for them. And that really helps. It's important to know that when you're dealing with not only your team members, but your colleagues, families, and friends.
That's beautiful.
Feels like the first time.
Bryon rocks. Okay, I like that.
And you rock, Candy. I tell you what, I'm so blessed to know you, to work with you, and to be a part of this this evening. So thank you for having me. You blessed me. I hope all your many followers around the world got a little bit from this, and I look forward to sharing with you again.
Absolutely. Thank you, Bryon. So how the people can connect with you?
You can connect with me. BryonHolz.com is my website, or Bryon@BryonHolz.com. Then my email's on there. I'm on all the social media, the major social media, LinkedIn. That's BRYON, not Byron, BRYONHOLZ. There are very few of us. It should be pretty easy to find me with Google or your favorite search engine. So.
Yeah, so team members of the group and people who follow me on LinkedIn and YouTube, just remember he is an amazing guy. And if you want to have, connect with him, learn about how he can provide services to your organization, just do it. He's been here for a long time and he knows every little thing so he can help you. That's really amazing. So thank you, Bryon, for your help today. And remember, in February 20th, we're going to have our next 5 days leadership training that we're going to be working in how to maximize your influence. So make sure that you tune in. And if you need more information, comment below more information, and my team will be able to help you out and get you registered, because this is going to be completely a transformative experience. So for next time, I will see you next week. And thank you, Bryon, for having us today. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Candy.